Rated M for Movies.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the Rated M for Movies podcast. My name is Matt. Today I got my review for you for Free State of Jones. Stars Matthew McCoaughey, Mahershala Ali, and Kerry Russell. So let's get right into it. So Free State of Jones is a true story of how former Confederate soldier Newton Knight, he started a rebellion of slaves and deserters from the Civil War in this county called Jones County, Mississippi. So obviously pretty much everybody down there is on the Confederate side. And yeah, they started a rebellion because they don't like what they're doing to the poor people and the slaves. So I just will start out by saying Matthew McConaughey is great in this role as Newton Knight. He's this great leader. He's like a mentor to a lot of people, you know. I thought he was fantastic in this role. You know, he does have that like low, like kind of like Lincoln commercial accent in this film. But, you know, he did give some great speeches in it. And I loved his character a lot in the film. There's also some great cinematography. A lot of the war scenes in the beginning where it's like actually the Civil War going on, they're shot fantastically, I thought. The camera follows the action very well. It's very brutal and gruesome. If you don't like a lot of blood and stuff like that, you're probably going to hate the beginning of this film. It's very brutal. It's very, I guess, realistic, you can call it, because I guess that's how the war was, but it all looked great. And there's also the swamp that the rebellion stays at a lot of the times. When you first see that also looks great. And a lot of times when they're in there, it looks great. Wherever they shot for that, the cinematographer really knew what they were doing. They really took advantage of a lot of the colors and stuff like that. Fantastic camera work in the film. The sound design is also really good. This actually really surprised me too. You know, a lot of the scenes lack music, and that really helped with a lot of the dramatic moments and stuff like that. And you really don't know what's going to happen. It actually kind of builds some tension in some scenes too. And you know, the gunshots and stuff like that were really loud and powerful too. They felt awesome. I love the sound design. It was very detailed. It was very good. And the middle of the movie where they're actually building the rebellion is by far the best part of the film. They have a clear motive and a clear story during that time period. There are some great action scenes during that time period too, like when they're like raiding some towns and stuff like that. And you know, it mostly sticks to a fairly short period of time. I'd say about 1 to 2 years. Great middle part of the movie. I love that part. Unfortunately, the pacing in this movie is a mess. It's all over the place. Like I said, the middle of the movie is great because it sticks to one period of time and the story is clear. Unfortunately, the rest of the movie, it doesn't balance jumping from different time periods very well. Like for example, in the beginning of the movie, it sticks to pretty much one time period where they show Matthew McConaughey's character, you know, with his wife and everything, and when he's in the Civil War and stuff like that. But then, you know, towards the middle of the movie, it starts to jump around a little bit more. And towards the end, it jumps around from like 1 to 2 years in a matter of like 10 minutes. It's just a mess. It makes it hard to keep track of what time period they're in. Because, you know, it's kind of important if you want to know like what laws are in place and stuff like that. You know, they show it on screen and everything, but it still made it very confusing because it just jumped around so much. The first half hour of this film also drags a lot because of the pacing. Focuses a lot on Matthew McConaughey's character. It's just pretty much him going from place to place, just talking to people, and it's very boring. There's not much going on. You're just like, all right, get to the cool stuff, get to the rebellion and stuff like that. You really don't care about it. And I think that part could have been cut a lot shorter. Same with the last half hour, which is also a huge mess. That's when they jump around a lot from different time periods. It felt very messy. It felt very drawn out. Again, it's not much going on. It's just a lot of people talking and stuff like that. And it was better than the first half, I thought, but it still dragged on. It was disappointing. And you know, the direction of the movie is also unclear. Kind of mentioned this before, but there really is no, especially in the beginning, there's really no clear story of the film until he actually gets to like the rebellion and stuff like that. Then it's like, all right, well, we want to fight the Confederates. We don't like what they're doing to the poor people and the slaves, so we're going to fight back. And that's pretty much the clear story in the middle. And then once slavery ends, you know, I mean, that's just a part of history. It's not really a spoiler. Then it's just like, all right, well, now what do we do? And the film, I don't really think knew what it wanted to do either because it was such a mess towards the end. But overall, Free State of Jones, guys, is an enjoyable historical drama. It has some great performances by Matthew McConaughey, and Mahershala Ali is actually really great in the movie too. It also has some great looking camera work and sound design, but unfortunately, the pacing makes this movie drag a lot more than it should. And in the end, it makes the film a lot more of a bore to watch than it should be. That's why I'm going to say you should wait for it on Redbox or rent it on Blu-ray. If you're a history buff and you like this type of stuff like that, I'd say go see it at a matinee. But everybody else, I don't think it's worth seeing in theaters right now. Even with all the good that there is, the pacing almost kills this film completely, man. If that middle part wasn't good, I would just say straight up don't see it, or it could be worse. But the middle part is worth seeing at some point, just not in theaters. So thanks for listening, guys. My next reviews are going to be for The Legend of Tarzan and the BFG next week. So stay tuned for that, and I'll see you later.
Rated M for movies.